Good grief. Old Jennifer was impressed with Steffi.
All her shots are very penetrating.
Graf's tennis ability now is only surpassed by her maturity as a woman. Her quickness on the court only surpassed by her class off the court. Her powerful forehand only surpassed by her powerful ability to be a role model for young women all across the world.
That'll be enough out of you.
And her evenly tanned thighs only surpassed by her firm breasts.
Fine.
Also winning, Monica Seles and Arancha Sanchez Vicario. College basketball, the number one team in the country, lost at home. Kansas beaten by Long Beach State 64-49. And Fordham suffered a tough loss on the road. Columbia beat them 65-51.
Who beat them?
Columbia.
Columbia.
They're nationally ranked.
Yeah, they're really Columbia beat Fordham?
Yes.
Oh, good. Where is Nick McCarthy? Can rehab? But Columbia beat him?
In a bar right now.
Columbia, coached by our good friend Jack Rowan.
Oh, God.
Just get out. I'm begging you.
New York requesting permission to enter your no-fly zone. Imus in the morning. Dick Nixon in an upbeat mood today, Dono. Dick Nixon feeling good. Though Dick Nixon has no idea why he's referring to himself in the third person. He'll stop.
Good.
So, issue 1, week 1 of the Goobers from Hell, the 40-something Clintons and Gores. I've labeled it an inauspicious beginning, J.D. In fact, in my view, the national seatbelt light just flashed on. Buckle up and get ready for this mother to drop about 10,000 feet. You know what I'm saying? Bill Clinton's in office for less than a week, and he's sending puce field packs and high-heeled combat boots to the Defense Department. Trying to put a slave trader at the top of the Justice Department and kissing off the press corps that elected him with something along the lines of, here's a quarter, call someone who cares. Of course, as you're quick to point out, Dono, why aspire to that sort of power if, once you get it, you can't abuse it? And speaking of abusing power, issue 2 this week, Hillary. Not a woman to be trifled with, Imo. I mean, you go into her West Wing office there, talking like this. You come out 5 minutes later, talking like this. I mean, what do you think is the matter with Bubba's voice all the time, huh? Hammerhead Hillary. Actually, though, wives of presidents have long exerted considerable influence, though with a lower profile.
Right.
Few know, in fact, of my wife Pat's pivotal role in my own administration.
Really?
Well, in the interest of historical accuracy, I now set the record straight.
Okay.
Watergate was her idea. Yep, I wanted none of it. Whole thing, her idea. Planned it, executed it, covered it up. Pat, she forced me to go along, threatening to reveal that I had an illegal alien on my staff. The little fellow who was my valet all those years, remember him? Manolo Sanchez, the beater? God, but that boy could lay out the clothes. Worked him half to death. What was he going to do, leave? Pardon me, but I don't think so. Marvelous abuse of executive privilege. In fact, we had whole platoons of them running around the Western White House there in San Clemente. And why not? California, right? You could round them up like fruit fly larvae. Had old Diane Sawyer out there during that period. Believe me, she was an alien, just not illegal, if you get my drift. Anywho, concluding issue while we're on the subject of the first family, Roger Clinton, the first step-brother.
Right.
Now, there's a lad who's been holding the old cellular portable a little too close, if I ever saw one. A couple of neurons short of a complete closed circuit, I mean, if anybody else is in the White House other than his brother, the Secret Service would have Roger Clinton on their potential assassin list, Just my opinion, of course, but I'm betting that before this is over, Roger Clinton will come off making Billy Carter look like f***ing Confucius. Oh, I nearly forgot. Last issue, hands off Chelsea.
Right.
No problem, Dono, because I'm not hearing any great groundswell out there for hands on Chelsea, are you?
Well, no.
And that's the Clinton White House, week 1, through a Dick's eye, Dono. None other than that of Richard Nixon himself, a former president of the United States.
Imus in the morning.
He's coming up on...
Soothing music, morning commute. You're driving? This concludes the entertainment portion of the WFAN broadcast day. WFAN now presents the rest of its programming schedule. 19 and one-half hours of imbecilic prattle between contemptibly limited provincial program hosts, talking on the telephone to a band of 13 equally insignificant housebound agrophobes with sports obsessions. The entertainment portion of the WFAN broadcast day will resume at 5:30 tomorrow morning. degrees at 10:04. Good morning. This is Mike Breen with the latest 66 WFAN sports news. New York Giants have scheduled a yuck-filled sportscast, right?
Pressure time.
Mike Breen. Good morning, Mike. Why, good morning, Imus. It was one of those nights in sports that, unfortunately, are few and far between. Last night in the NHL, the Hartford Whalers won a game. They outscored their opponents 6-5. The Canadiens, the team that lost. Montreal, the site of the event. An evening that brought joy to Whaler fans. Joy to the state of Connecticut.
Right.
Joy to the world.
Here we go.
And that reminds me of a song.
Yeah.
Right. Joy to the world, the Whalers won. They beat a hockey team. Noel Weicker is amazed. The Whaler fans are dazed. The Whalers won the game. The Whalers won the game. The Whalers have won again. Of course, I think he's going to do Three Dogs Night, Joy to the World. Jeremiah wants a bullfrog, but I guess not, huh? A little applause, I think, would be appropriate. You're a fool. Also from the NHL, the Rangers won to defeat the Winnipeg Jets 5-2 at the Garden. College basketball, Seton Hall loses at Georgetown 73-62, and in a game that illustrates what intercollegiate athletics is all about, another fine display of good sportsmanship as Oklahoma beat Florida A&M by 81 points.
You know, let me tell you something what I thought about Hoffenberg.
All right.
I thought when you just read in the paper about, you know, this guy collecting these accounts and stuff,
Yeah.
I think that somebody has an account, they exhaust.
The lovely Anne Lagoria will be at O'Reilly's Pub in Maplewood, New Jersey for the Miller Genuine Draft WFAN Super Bowl party. We've got great prices like Miller Genuine Draft merchandise, Hillshire Farm products, a full set of Michelin tires from WTC Auto Centers and ETD Tire Auto Centers, plus Sidelines, the new book that looks behind the scenes at the NFL. Oversized hooded Cowboys and Bills t-shirts from Apex, the official sideline apparel and footwear of the NFL. An overnight ski package to Loon and Attitash Mountains in the White Mountains of New Hampshire for baby and Watson. But don't be a shut-in like that two-legged pimple Imus Lamar. Join myself and Bernard McGurk at Carringtons of Melville on New Highway, right off Route 110 behind Adventureland in Farmingdale. Or the lovely Anne Lagoria at O'Reilly's on Milburn Avenue in Maplewood, New Jersey for the Miller Genuine Draft WFAN Super Bowl party. Brought to you by Sports Radio 66 WFAN.
You're gonna love this. I'm John Connell, and today I'm talking to...
Right.
Where do you find the soda slip line? Great scheme. Not wasting your time. 4 double chairs, T-bar and J-bar.
Track this. Only Olympic graded FIS run in the Berkshires. We are number one. FIS rated, it can't be overstated.
Hillsdale, New York, Route 23. It's where Catamount is and where you want to be. So if you want to talk snow, call 518-325-3200. That's 518-325-3200, and we'll talk snow.
Home base for Lufthansa is Germany, which puts all of Europe right in our backyard. No wonder so many travelers choose Lufthansa as the smartest way to travel to and throughout Europe. We offer flights to somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 European cities. And that's
Team covering by David Franklin of ABC News.
Right, Dave.
I'm Walter Cronkite, CBS News retired.
And I'm Don Imus, a godlike individual whose myriad abilities are the envy of a broad and growing cross-section of the entire country.
Here now, some news since the morning papers came out.
Okay.
First Lady Hillary Clinton has paid her initial visit to New York City since her husband's election to the job she now fills. Among other things, Mrs. Clinton visited a public school in a troubled, drug-plagued Upper Manhattan neighborhood. On loan to Imus in Washington, MTV's political analyst Tabitha Soren, who traveled with the First Lady's party. Tabitha?
Thank you, David. I'm here on 177th Street, struck by the fact that Mrs. Clinton came here from one Washington, D.C. to another Washington Heights. Coincidence? Perhaps, perhaps not. One thing that is very clear, however, is that the dilapidated school she visited here, PS 115, is worlds away from the posh Sinbad Friends School where she and the president enrolled their daughters.
Excuse me, Tabitha. Sorry to interrupt, but it's the Sidwell Friends School, if I'm not mistaken.
What did I say?
Well, you said Sinbad. It's Sidwell.
I thought I had heard Sinbad.
No, I believe you confused the African-American humorist Sinbad with the private school, Sidwell.
That is confusing. Anyway, Mrs. Clinton, it appears to this reporter, wish she were anywhere else on Earth other than at a school where she wouldn't sit her daughter on a bed. On another matter, Mrs. Clinton announced that she'd be working closely with the new health secretary, Donna Shanana, as she begins the task of reforming the nation's healthcare system.
Tabitha.
Mrs. Clinton said...
Excuse me again, Tabitha. Shalala.
Huh?
The new Secretary of Health is Donna Shalala, not Shanana.
I'll review my notes.
Do that. MTV political analyst, Imus in Washington contributing editor, and trained betting consultant Tabitha Sowen.
And finally today, the raging debate over whether cellular phones cause cancer hit an unprecedented level this week with yet another high-profile victim. Tom Brokaw, the NBC news anchor, who passed away, ironically, as he was reporting the story when he strangled on camera trying to say cellular. As coincidence would have it, IIW cameras were standing by as the word wrestled Brokaw to the studio floor before a stunned national audience. These, then, the final tragic moments.
There's a potential new cancer risk this evening. The familiar and increasingly popular
Somebody get a doctor.
Why?
He's dying.
Right.
Yeah, and not a moment too soon over there. Have you seen these f***ing ratings here? This thing is in the toilet here. Hey, Tom, say, Silly Sally's Cellular Celery Sales Symposium, you son of a bitch.
It's 27 after 9, 9:27 in New York, and I am Imus and now live in Southport, Connecticut. My weekend neighbor, Thistle Hawkins. Good morning, Thistle.
I'm begging you.
Yeah.
Please, I'm on my knees.
Yes.
Throw a hump on for me, will ya?
Oh.
Come on. You can't tease me like this. I want you, baby. Make an old lady happy.
Fine.
Give me some of that love monkey. Give me a piece of that pork. Just give me an audition. Let me talk into your big microphone.
Come on, Thistle.
Do me, cowboy. Do me.
Instead of traffic jams, you'll find people...
Memo. Here's memo. Get out. Get out. Get out. That's all. Get out. Get out. Signed. Donna.
Get out. Get out. Drop dead. Now, wait. Hey. That's a little harsh. What is this woman thinking about? Running for governor, Don? Here's a woman who admits she hired 2 illegal aliens, employed them for 4 years, because ostensibly she couldn't find any other help that met her needs. In other words, people who would work for slave wages as slaves under the yoke of intimidation, right? Paid a fine, or paid back taxes and stuff of around close to $30,000 yesterday, and then marched from the fine window over to a bank of microphones and announced with no particular real reason that she was running for governor. And I'm thinking, I'm nuts. It's a nifty segue, huh? I'm crazy. This is the same week that Zoe Baird is on the cover of Time magazine. Maybe she didn't get the issue. What do you think that this person thinks that we're thinking about? How dumb does she think the people of New Jersey are? It's insulting. I just don't know. It's arrogant and insulting. Yeah. Here's another rich, yuppie scum bunny thinking they can run that jive by everybody. The old double standard of... Just because Eileen's from New Jersey, doesn't mean everyone's like that. And everybody is going to buy into that. Yeah. Oh, this too will pass. And did she have any platform or program to run for governor? No, not really. No, is that necessary? I don't know. I just seems like a great idea. Got to do something.
By the way, is Trenton still the capital of Jersey?
Honest to God. And Carrie Edwards, of course. You know, there's nothing going on there. I mean, you're talking about somebody who's too dumb to attack. Out of the recipe. I mean, absolutely. Just off the menu. You know, we're out in the kitchen. God almighty. What a dope. This is a guy who, when he
You know, this is going Zoe Baird one better. While he was Attorney General, this stooge had an illegal alien working for him and tried to pass it off on his poor old dead father-in-law. Jesus.
Let's bring him up on charges.
Yeah, I mean, what is that? It well, my father-in-law employed her, and unfortunately he passed away, and so I just thought, well, it seems like a good deal. Why don't I do this?
It's going to be kind of hard to check with him.
Yeah,
Dad, pleasey.
He must have been aware that while he was Attorney General, sworn to enforce the laws of the state of New Jersey. Well, and now he wants to be governor? I don't think so.
As somebody was quoted in the paper this morning as saying, I think the Republican Party in New Jersey may need to look for a couple of other candidates.
Is this a face-saving effort on the part of Christy Whitman?
Coming off the, I don't know.
I can see her rubbing tongues with Sam Phillips in the penthouse by June.
Right, this. Heading north on Route 22. Who do you get?
Yeah, well, yes, they did, as a matter of fact. I saw her announcement statement.
What a dip.
Huh? That's unkind, man.
Did Kerry have a press conference as well?
No, I guess.
No, well, at least he was smart enough to kind of try to lay low here for a while. Lie low, whatever.
Hi, Lily.
Lily.
You.
Dope. Unbelievable.
There we go.
I mean, it's
outrageous.
it's beyond reason.
Guess they didn't get the message. I guess you talk about not getting the message. Hey, from the Zoe Baird thing,
Wouldn't you think that there was that they'd be attuned somehow to public sentiment?
adjust that dial.
This is a person who only be 25 in the city. That's what's going to be where you is. Where you is a baby. Yeah.
Going over Nora Haynes' book.
Yeah, man.
And her tech.
I'm looking at the weekend and not even being able to get my clothes on.
Just an idiot.
Don't threaten anybody.
That's a frightening thought.
Yeah. Oh, man.
With no clothes on.
I look good. It's 28 or so now. Here we are. And it's 9:38, 22 till 10 o'clock. The two stooges from L.A., Ed and Dave, followed by Fatso and Fruit Loops, also out in L.A. for the Super Bowl coming up on Sunday, which is the Super Bowl, by the way, if you're not around to tell people who couldn't get a real here, they can't even get it away. That's another thing. Yeah. There's no money involved here. So Letterman now thinks Dennis Miller would be good for this 12:30 slot. You're probably right.
Okay, yeah. Why not?
I can see it. He's not good for hosting anything on MTV.
Boy, oh boy. He proved that. Wow.
But Dennis Miller's bright. He's extremely funny. I liked his show, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
He was very hip.
Yes, he was a hip.
Cerebral.
Yeah.
Seriously bright.
He was very hip. I love Letterman. Can't wait till he just...
So does Margaret Ray. She loved Letterman.
A couple of times.
Well, that's not his fault.
No, of course not.
Some nut breaks in his... Maybe, maybe he got a hold of Nora Hayden's book.
Yeah.
And maybe Dave got a hold of how to satisfy a woman every time and have her beg for more. And, one night he's there at some joint in New Canaan.
That's exactly right.
Who knows? One thing leads to another.
Sure.
And another. And another. And the next thing you know, she's breaking into the house saying, baby, give it to me one more time.
Nurse Julie Decker.
Diamonds a week. He's a rebel, born to be wild. Started that first Super Bowl Sunday. He said to me, how am I supposed to make the rice pilaf and smokehouse almond stuffing with just one can of Blue Diamond almonds? I tried to stop him, but it was no good. He said, and what about my holiday snack mix, which calls for 3 different kinds of Blue Diamond almonds? This is the Super Bowl for crying out loud. And that's when he saddled up the Volvo and went to the store. He bought can after can of Blue Diamond almonds. Looked the checkout lady in the eye and said, I got a flaming almond baba to make for 8 hungry sports fans, and I ain't gonna let him down. Rebel. Yeah, he broke the rules, but I gotta tell you, it was one heck of a Super Bowl party.
Blue Diamond almonds. Sometimes the can of wheat is not enough.
Friends, this is Larry King. I'm on the...
I know doctors have recommended the Dimetapp brand.
This is the entertainment portion of the WFAN broadcast day. WFAN now presents the rest of its programming schedule. 67 and 1/2 hours of imbecilic prattle between contemptibly limited provincial program hosts talking on the telephone to a band of 13 equally insignificant housebound agrophobes with sports obsessions. The entertainment portion of the WFAN broadcast day will resume at 5:30 Monday morning.
38 degrees at 2.5 after 10. Good morning. This is Mike Breen with the latest 66 WFAN Sports News. It's been a good season thus far for both the local NBA clubs, but last night, not a memorable evening for either. Knicks lose at home, Nets on the road. We'll start at the Garden. Knicks beaten by the...
Yesterday, go with you, and they're having a Walt Frazier sound-alike contest at MSG, and I wouldn't let Bernard enter because, well, he might lose, first of all, and no, Bernard's above that, but Bernard did hit one over, and Bernard did his dressed up as Frazier with a how'd it go? It went pretty well. Even Clyde could not stop laughing at Bernard's appearance as the former Clyde, complete with sideburns, big afro, of course the pick in the hair. I can't wait to have the big hat on. How did he sound? Sounded great as always. Oh man, I can't wait to see this. That's a great Bernard. All right, what's going on? Knicks win last night without their main man at the Garden. Patrick Ewing sat one out. The Knicks still beat the Golden State Warriors without Ewing, 105-101. John Starks pumping in 30 points. For Ewing, he told the fan he didn't play because of fatigue.
Up the tide right now.
Well, I don't think that. His official response was a hyperextended knee, but Ewing did look exhausted. They hope he can play tonight in Miami. Was Walt there with you last night? Yes, Walt was here, providing the color commentary on the fan. Last night, Clyde responding to some recent criticism that he received during the course of the broadcast. Starks back to the line where he's only 3 of 6 from the line tonight. Uncharacteristic for John Starks.
Mike, I hear the I-Man is vexed and perplexed by my off days, man.
Starks hits the first one. You know what it is, Clyde? He misses you.
Oh, yeah? Well, what about these? I heard he mentioned something about my hut blew down. A wall fortress up in Connecticut, but, you know, I like for my fans to come in and talk to me. I don't want to isolate myself.
We'll have to bring this up with him. Starks,
you know, I keep my rolls out on the street where the people can see me.
Yeah, they repoed that rolls years ago. he ain't driving a roll on that jump salary. It was great to have him back. I love Walt. He's actually, I was telling Luca last night, I said, you know, it would be easy to write him off as just some jive jerk running some rhymes on you, but he's a smart guy. Yes, he is. Yeah. That's a good act. I like it. New Jersey Nets won at home last night as well. In overtime, defeat the Supersonics, 113-103. Draws at Petrovic 35 points. At the Boston Garden, sellout crowd, but not for a game. The official ceremony last night to retire Larry Bird's number 33, which now hangs from the rafters above the parquet floor. Ironically, Bird has never been able to count to 33, but still able to have his number retired. Pretty big upset last night in college basketball. Pacific beats number 10 UNLV 62-56. The game was at Pacific, which had lost 26 straight to the Vernon Rebels. And finally in boxing, weigh-in yesterday for tomorrow night's championship bout. Heavyweight champ Riddick Bowe at 243 pounds. That's 8 more than he had when he fought Holyfield. Michael Dokes weighed in at 244. Bowe, who was a guest on the Imus in the Morning program yesterday, said his only distraction would be if the I-Man did not show.
If you ain't had that $5 show we done went through, I'm kicking your ass.
I don't think threatening me is really necessary, Jim. Better he threatened Michael Dokes, who was also at the Garden last night. 6:22, Mike Green, WFAN Sports. So I spoke to a friend out of the world. I'm Mike Tyson. Good morning, champ.
Morning, Mr. Chump. How are you?
I'm fine.
Tiny had to go to the infirmary to get some ointment, so I figured I'd take a few minutes of peace and quiet to give you a call.
Good.
But he told me to say hi.
Oh, okay.
He said he met you a long time ago in a bar.
Really?
You were in dress blues, and he was in a plaid gabardine chemise.
Oh, no.
So what do you think of gays in the military?
I think it's fine.
You know, I think that where a man wants to put his Mr. Dinky has no bearing on who he is as a person. There's lots of hiney jockeys in here, but it doesn't mean they're faggots.
No.
Alternative sexual lifestyles do not necessarily indicate aberrant behavior. That's what the guy down in D Block we call the professor told me just before he made me squeal like a pig. I think homosexuals in the armed forces could have a negative effect on society.
Really?
I mean, if all the gays go into the army, where you gonna go get your hair cut? Down to Camp Pendleton, that's where. Just look for the barracks that has all the Harry Connick Jr. pictures on the walls. Can you believe how stupid he is?
No.
Try and get on an airplane with a 9mm in his carry-on?
Well,
Why didn't he just try and go through the metal detector with grenades in his pocket? He think he can bring a Uzi into first class because it'll fit in the overhead compartment underneath the seat in front of him?
Well,
But he ain't gonna go to jail. He'd do a plea bargain. He takes 20 minutes to shoot a 30-second commercial for New York gun laws, and he gets out of 6 months of jail time. How come I couldn't cut a deal like that?
well,
I'd spend 8 months shooting a 90-minute movie if it could get me out of doing 6 years. Hi, I'm Mike Tyson, the former heavyweight champion of the world. I was recently arrested for rape in Indiana and spent the past year in jail. I didn't know Indiana had such tough rape laws. If you're going to rape somebody, don't do it in Indiana. Take her across the state line to Ohio where they aren't so strict.
oh, no.
You know, something like that, so they commute my sentence.
Right.
Or let me be a commuter prisoner. You know, take the train to jail and go home at night.
Right.
Unfortunately, I'm going to miss a fight this Saturday. I'll be tied up.
Right.
Tiny does that sometimes when I don't cooperate. I'm not worried, though, about missing a fight, that is.
Right.
It's not going to be that great. I'll just get some fat brother to smack a pork chop in the meat locker in the mess hall. It'll be just like the same thing. Rope a dope, dokes. And the accent's on dope.
Yeah.
Dokes is so stupid, he thinks condiments are flavored rubbers. Why is Rock Newman making both fight this mound?
I don't know.
I know he wants to make a box, but what's next? Supermarket openings? Children's birthday parties? Okay, kids, who didn't get a turn to punch the chair? No, ow! Hey, guys, I wasn't talking about me. Ow! Hey, I was on the phone. Ow! Get away from me. Tiny!
In the morning.
Former heavyweight champ, Iron Mike Tyson. Things not going that great for him. It's 6:49, 11 minutes till 7 o'clock. Coming up in just a couple minutes, Mike Breen with all the details about that big Nick victory without Patrick Ewing, but with Clyde Frazier over to Garden last night. State Warriors 105-101 without Patrick Ewing. Ewing sat on the bench in street clothes with a hyperextended knee, but the rest of the Knicks picked up the slack, including Greg Anthony, the point guard out of UNLV, who played well, except for one embarrassing moment late in the fourth quarter when he went to the free throw line. And here's how it was described on the fan. Anthony with a chance for the traditional three-point play. The free throw, an air ball at the free throw line.
He almost missed the floor. That's a choke job. What can I say, folks? That's a choke job. For the young Republican, what else could you say, man?
So ball is back, huh?
The lack of aptitude, showing an aptitude. What's up with this dude?
Great to have Clyde back last night.
Yeah, the high man innocuous, rarely humorous. Starting to look like Grandpa Lewis.
That'll be fine, Walt.
Puts people to sleep, make them smile when he's 6 feet deep.
Fine, Walt. New Jersey Nets beat up on the Sonics at the Meadowlands in overtime, 113-103. Also last night, San Antonio Spurs won again, down the Pacers 133-115. Avery Johnson liking the way his teammates are playing.
We wanted to get some guys some playing time. When you got a situation like that, if you come out the first 3 or 4 minutes and turn up the intensity, the team is down there on the road. They've been on the road for quite a while. We knew we can increase the lead, and we set a goal that we wanted to try to turn up the defense, give Willie Anderson some playing time, and that happened pretty good for us.
Man, I love this guy.
He's the best.
He's becoming a new favorite here on the Iverson.
I mean, he's right. But he's on top of what's happening. He's on top of what's going down.
I mean, all right. Spurs now 18-3 under John Lucas. Wow. Good note for the Yankees. They signed Melito Perez to a 4-year deal for $14 million. Now they just have to find him. Oh, that's his brother, right? And no NHL action last night. There'll be none tonight. League currently in its All-Star break. The All-Star game will take place tomorrow in Montreal, and we all can't wait for that.
6:54, Mike Breen, WFAN Sports. For over 60 years.
They're big teams.
Without their tallest man, we're still able to overcome. No Patrick Ewing, but a victory nonetheless. Defeat the Golden State Warriors 105-101. When the news leaked out that Ewing would miss the game with a hyperextended knee, panic set in throughout the Garden. And that was a topic the fan Susan Waldman brought up with Doc Rivers.
What happens to the offense when your center man is not there?
Oh, you had to go to another player.
There you go.
Bingo.
Hello.
Oh, Doc must be bogged down and redecorating that new home up there in Stamford.
Charles Smith had 20 points and 12 rebounds to help lead the Knicks to triumph. New Jersey Nets, led by cheers of Nicole and 35 points from Drazen Petrovic, defeated the Sonics in overtime last night, 113-103 at the Meadowlands. Also last night at the Boston Garden, they officially retired Larry Bird's number 33. Ceremony lasted only 2.5 hours. It was an emotional evening for Larry Legend.
The ultimate.
Come on. Larry Bird finally says goodbye to all his fans.
Get out, Larry. Go back to French Lick. Jeez. Sit there in the office of the car dealership and leave us alone.
In boxing, the weigh-in for tomorrow's heavyweight title fight occurred yesterday at the Garden. The champ, Riddick Bowe, 243 pounds. Michael Dokes came in at 244, but he's not concerned with that amount of weight.
I was just going to write a comment in this fight because in the later rounds, by the time the 10th round comes, I'm already 235 or 6. That can have an effect on you in the later rounds. But right now, I feel tremendous.
I'll bet. You sound great. You sound right on top of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds wonderful.
Certainly.
Is he going to be on this morning, Bernie?
No, he's not.
Well, there's a note. Do you ever read those notes that are on Angela's door?
Yes, I do.
Well, there's a note there suggesting that he is going to be on.
Uh-oh.
So you don't read them.
Let's see here. Dokes was at the Garden once again last night, catching the Knick game. Comfortable there on the Celebrity Row. Also on hand at the Garden last night, Riddick Bowe and Rock Newman.
What was he drinking last night?
We believe it was just a soda pop beverage.
No, because I saw him on television. He had a little bottle of something.
Was he nipping at the old bottle again?
Yeah, I think that Al Trotwig, that lame-o, old cleanhead, he said that it was ginseng or something, but I don't think so. It looked like one of those airplane liquor bottles.
It's a special training liquid from what I understand.
Just spice it up, Pedro.
Well, what was he drinking?
I don't know. I didn't ask him.
But did you know that they had a discussion that they were showing him on television with this little bottle?
No, I didn't see that. I was keeping my eyes on the court, watching the 10 big tall men run.
Well, this is just absolutely stupid, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
How long is this fight going to last?
Oh, man. Minute and a half?
50 seconds.
Riddick says he wants to punish him a little bit.
Why? What has Michael Dokes ever done to anybody?
What's he done?
What's he done, that poor old guy?
Who's he ever hurt?
He's never hurt anyone. He's never done anything to anybody. So why would he want to punish him? There's no reason to punish him.
He's 53 and 2. That's his age. 55 years old.
Yeah, just punch him and go home.
That's a good idea.
That's right.
Jesus. Get the money, go. 7:23, Mike Breen, WFAN Sports.
Track this. So the Berkshires were challenging runs. Skiing magazine said, we're the ones. For more challenging runs, you better come to. Track this. Impeccable grooming, said Skiing magazine, but in the Berkshires do you think they mean? Impeccable grooming, great place to ski. Track this.
Heading north on Route 22. Who do you get to first? The best one, too. Less driving, more skiing. You'll love being out. Hillsdale, New York, Route 23. It's where Catamount is and where you want to be. So if you want to talk snow, call 518-325-3200. That's 518-325-3200. And we'll talk snow. I was having...
All right, it's 10:05 on the Fan. Sunday.
All right, Russ,
Solberg here, 1207 back on the fan. I'm behind the mic. We have Stevie.
Sports Radio 66, the fan, WFAN, New York.
All right, Russ Solberg here on a fan 137. It is the number to call 718-937-6666. In the next half hour, we should have Rock Newman and Riddick Bowe later on. We hope.
Sports Radio 66, the fan, WFAN, New York.
All right, Russ Solberg here. We've already got 2 hours out of the way. We're now at 2:07.
Heard the show last week, JD, and I was wondering whether you're having any more of those spring card women coming in. Eh? Well, no, the fight's over. Yeah, but life's not. Come on, just one? No. Oh, damn. Not even the one who writes the dirty poems? No, they're not dirty poems. That's Deidre Coleman, and she's a very bright young woman. Sure. But she's a Fulbright scholar, who happens to write in erotica. That's what I said, the dirty poems. You know, Dono, I dabble a bit in the verse of passion myself. Some quite sensual imagery, if I do say so. Nothing. Well, it's a side of Dick Nixon I don't reveal all that often. But if I may, not trying to turn you on or anything. But let's see. How's this? Okay. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. More than Bill Clinton loves uniformed games. Like attorneys general love illegal Portuguese. Nice work, my love. Now get off your knees. Pretty good, huh? No. I have an entire compilation here. In this little book I've titled simply Dick Rhymes. Anyway, Dono, a couple of quick matters, if you will. Issue 1. Gays in the military. Or, we're looking for a few good sheep. Now then, you might as well resign yourself to this because it's clear to me that regardless of how anyone feels about it, Clinton's going to ram it down our throats. Unfortunate application of a cliche if there ever was one. What I mean is, the president is bound and determined to push this thing through and deal with the consequences later. As Sam Nunn put it, a case of ready, fire, aim. Issue 2, speaking of the Attorney General matter, what kind of a name is Kimba? Wasn't that Chicken George's daughter in Roots? I mean, we go from a Zoe to a Kimba? What the hell ever happened to, like, Betty? Jesus, Bill, buy a vowel, will ya? Oh, well, issue 3. We'll return to the gay subject for just a moment. J. Edgar Hoover, FBI. What's that stand for? The Baggett Bureau Investigation? No. A little harsh, I know, but, well, now we have this huge expose that, for my money, settles once and for all the nagging question of whether J. Edgar Hoover was gay. I mean, when you found people who saw the director sitting on a couch at the plaza, legs crossed at the knee, wearing a red negligee and a Carol Channing wig, daintily sipping a Singapore sling while being fussed over by 2 fluttering 14-year-old boy toys, I think it's a pretty safe conclusion to say that old Ed was working both sides of the fingerprint file, agreed? Of course, now it can be told I had my own huge cross to bear in that area. Really? Who? Kissinger. That idiot was always coming on to me. Really? Remember that celebrated episode when we were supposedly kneeling together there in the Oval Office? Sure. Well, that had nothing to do with Watergate. Oh. The owl-eyed bastard tackled me in the garter belt. Disgusting. But I feel better now for having told it. Anyway, that shoots my time. Perhaps a little verse to make my exit. A reflection on the initial performance here of the Clinton administration. I call it Ode to the Goober. Oh. The Arkansas Traveler, call him Bill or call him Bubber, makes us wish his old man had used a rubber. Opinion, man. Just one fella's thinking here, although very significant, of course, being that of Richard Nixon, a former president of the United States.
Imus in the morning.
6:27 after.
Where press the Golden Globes are disrespected. You want to give Saddam a woman best picture? Aight, it's okay. Be like that. You don't want to give Denzel Washington his props for playing Malcolm X, but you give Al Pacino an award for acting like he's Stevie Wonder? That's fine. I'm just telling y'all right now, I don't get best director at the Oscars this year. There's going to be some riots make the Rodney King look like a tea party. That's another thing. It saddens and angers me that in order to achieve justice in the Rodney King case, the white officers are being tried for civil rights violations. What up with that? Let me get this straight. You have 6 white cops beating the crap out of black man, and they acquitted of criminal charges. But to keep LA from burning down, you're going to get him on a civil rights violation? Well, that's like reducing a sodomy charge to a traffic ticket, following too closely. Why not just accuse him of public nuisance? Sorry, gentlemen, but your pinata party got a little out of hand. Just another example of the double standard that exists when it comes to the prosecution and sentencing of violent crimes, like the Mon Shop situation. I don't understand how Major League Baseball could allow a cigar-smoking, whiskey-drinking, banana-pudding-eating, Nazi-loving, bulldog-looking, nicotine-stained, bad breath, four-eyed, nose-veined like a road map bitch be in the organization in the first place. What up with her? The only difference between her attitude and a plantation owner is her slaves don't sing when they in the field. But what does her punishment entail? A 1-year suspension, which basically boils down to the fact that her seats for the game won't be as good as they normally are. And she's got to attend cultural training program. What's that mean? She have to eat neck bones and then go listen to Lady Smith Black Mambazo records once a week? She got to watch Def Comedy Jam and then learn how to dance? And they're going to make her pay a $25,000 fine, which is a drop in the bucket for a woman who's used to buying $1 million niggas like they packs of cigarettes. I don't think her punishment fit the crime. She need to know the humiliation and pain of being on a receiving end of prejudice and discrimination. She need to make Black History this month by standing in front of Hank Aaron's house. Hey, Hank, who the old fat white bitch in the jockey uniform on your front lawn?
By play here in the Imus Money Program, 641-19.
Since our last Imus in Washington update, H. Ross Perot is in the hospital being treated for hypothermia after he became stranded in rural Dallas County, Texas last night when his car broke down and he had no idea of how to fix it. Perot was able to make a statement to rescuers who found him lying face down in a foot of snow.
Well, it took you bastards long enough. Here's the deal. Broke down, got under the hood, took a look around, didn't have a clue. Pulled out my cell phone to call for help, got a brain tumor. Had to take a leak. Fainted, frostbit my pecker. So just imagine where we'd be if I'd have got up here to Washington. You'd have had a crazy man, butcher holler haircut, hole in the head, popsicle pecker, with not a clue about what to do. Oh, that's who we got up there now. Well, see you in 96. I'm just that stupid.
And not many miles away in Houston, another defeated candidate, George Bush, spoke to, well, anybody who'd listen, analyzing the first couple of weeks of the Clinton administration. How's the former president think it's going so far?
Hey, hate to be an I told you so. You know, most presidents at least wait till they're sworn in before they start breaking promises. I know I did. But this fella, well, of course, it is important to get those hamster rammers in the military. I know Colin Powell was sure happy about it. Advice from this former leader? General, with a name like Colin, watch the area where you carry your wallet.
In entertainment news, absolutely unforgettable. Sets a screen on fire. Haunting, timeless, a classic. On the scale of Gone with the Wind. Just some of the screaming rave reviews of the most eagerly anticipated cinematic work in the history of the medium, Loaded Weapon 1. From the brash visionary studios of New Line Cinema. Michael Lynn, the nouveau celebrity president of New Line, talked about the challenge of LWO.
Well, it encompasses all the things closest to my heart. Food, money, manipulation. We had numerous argumentative meetings involving many tiers of people who constantly contradicted each other's instructions, involving problems that we not only couldn't define, but that only grew worse as we tried to define them. You know what I mean? Many worst-case scenarios came true. But let me tell you something, sweetheart. You can't go wrong. It's an investment. Pleurisy you'll get from laughing. You get this? Maybe even scared. Would I lie to you?
Mr. Lynn says New Line is already working on a sequel to Loaded Weapon 1, tentatively titled Loaded Weapon 2.
And finally, from our science desk, researchers have discovered fossils belonging to what they describe as a missing link ancestor of the whale, an animal that walked on land some 50 million years ago. The fossil find supports genetic studies showing that the closest cousins of modern whales are deer, cows, camels, pigs, Phoebe Snow, Aretha Franklin, and Mike Francesa.
Loaded Weapon 1 did almost $10 million over the weekend.
Yeah.
Fourth in a row last night, up their home record to 20-4. A 104-82 trashing of the Miami Heat at the Garden. Knicks with 6 players scoring in double figures, and the defense was solid once again, except for this one play in the first half, as described on the fan with Walt Clyde Frazier.
Cycling back up top for Sally. Couple of dribbles, drives down the right side and jams it in.
Long, tall Sally jumping in the alley. The Knicks that time comatose on the D.
He's great, isn't he?
Oh, man. This blows like a scud while cycling tugs on his pud. The Knicks comatose on a deed. Man comatose in his pee-pee.
That'll be fine, Walt.
Arrogant and impotent in the boudoir.
That will be fine, Walt. New Jersey Nets also won, defeated the Bucks 105-102 at the Meadowlands. Big win for the AFC last night, not letting their Super Bowl failures affect them. AFC beats the NFC 23-20 in the Pro Bowl, thus ending the NFL season officially. NHL season resuming tonight, and not a moment too soon. It seemed like the All-Star break was weeks, not days, but thankfully hockey is back, and the Rangers and Devils will square off at the Meadowlands. In boxing, Riddick Bowe wants to fight again sometime in June. The undefeated heavyweight champ disposed of challenger Michael Dokes in his first title defense, disposed of him rather quickly on Saturday night. 2-19 in the first round. What a joke, man. But, of course, Dokes felt that the fight was stopped prematurely.
If I hit you in the chin, I don't care if roads are there or steel beam is there, or you wedged in by nails, your legs gonna leave you. Regardless of the road, my legs will leave me. The man went into the road. I'm wondering what the referee is talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, now he sounds fine to me.
He sounds lucid. He was staggering across the ring there like a drunk on ice skates, wasn't he?
It looked like Lone Wiker in blackface. He was so bad.
Well, now that'll be fine. Let's leave it go.
I'm ripped off.
They were scheduled to have a press conference today. Riddick Bowe and his next title defense was scheduled to be against Ray Mercer, but unfortunately Mercer lost on the undercard to Jesse Ferguson. Well, he looked in good shape. $2 million payday. Can these fatheads get in shape? No. Ray Mercer looked like Francesa. He was guaranteed $2 million to fight Bowe in his next defense in blue. 7:23, Mike Breen, WFAN Sports.
The Delta frequency.
Hi, Dave. This is Walter Cronkite, and I'm the radio divinity Don Imus, a human repository of juice, suffused with the elixir of the elite. You know me as the I-Man.
First, some news since the morning papers, showing his determination to nominate a female to the post of Attorney General. President Clinton's new short list of prospects contains some familiar names. Spokesman George Step-on-Your-Peculous says the list has now been paired to, in order of consideration, Patty Hearst, Joanne Chesimard, Jean Harris, Bess Myerson, Angela Davis, and in keeping with failed candidate Kimber Wood, some chick named Bambi, with globes the size of duffel backs, who was first runner-up in the Miss Nude America pageant of 1964. Once again, the task of interviewing the prospects falls to Hillary Rodham Clinton, who says she expects to spend the most time with the last candidate named, perhaps hours and hours and hours.
Meantime, if any speck of doubt remained regarding Miss Clinton's increasing dominance of the job to which her husband was elected, it was pretty much removed today when Miss Clinton further amended her official name by adding to it the entire phrase, "In your face, mother." A spokesman for the First Lady says she will hereafter be identified in all relations with White House staff and White House press as Hillary Rodham, "In your face, mother." And will drop the name Clinton altogether.
Former presidential candidate and now gazillionaire gadfly Ross Perot sounded familiar themes at weekend rallies in the nation's Northeast. His first political appearances since President Clinton's inauguration. Mr. Perot spoke against deficit spending, the influence of political money, and the perks of power in Washington, citing as an example the current scandal enveloping FBI Director William Sessions. Here's an excerpt.
Well, now, isn't it interesting? New president, old business. Judge Sessions riding around in limos, charging off personal stuff on his government expense account. And him the head of the FBI. It's just saying. And all this coming right in the middle of us finding out that J. Edgar Hoover, world-class lawman, was a goober goblin. Getting out of your hood, snipping your schnauzer, putting lipstick on your dipstick. And Clinton wants to put him in the military? I say no, sir. Leave your homos where they are now, in the Navy. I know, I was there. It's just that simple.
The magazine Popular Mechanics says it's putting together a pictorial that will focus on some of the new administration's key inner circle figures. Entitled Girls of the White House, the layout in Popular Mechanics' March issue will feature Donna Shalala, Alice Rivlin, and Dee Myers, cavorting nude in the bucket of a front-end loader, frolicking through a meadow astride a garden weasel, and taking a dust bath. In sports, stung by criticism that Michael Dokes was not a qualified
quality challenger, fight producer Rock Newman has moved swiftly to sign the next 5 contenders for heavyweight champion Riddick Bowe. Floyd Patterson, Jerry Quam, Ernie Chavis, Chuck Wepner, and Ron Lyon. Asked how soon the two might put together a deal to fight Lennox Lewis, Newman said simply, not in your lifetime.
And finally, news from Detroit. General Motors Corporation says it will market a new mid-size pickup truck called the Emulator. A new design that will incorporate an engineering feature GM first introduced in the 1970s, external combustion. Signed on as a spokesperson for the new vehicle is well-known former IndyCar driver Nicky Lauda. 20 steps.
Ways to call Canada for less. Last night in Philadelphia, his body dripping with sweat, his bulging biceps glistening from the TV lights, Ewing exploded for 40 points as the Knicks pounded the Sixers into submission, 120 to 115 in overtime at the Spectrum.
I guess whose book, speaking of all that, is back on the New York Times bestseller list? Anna Quinlan. Nora Hayden. Oh, no. Come on. It's back on the New York Times bestseller list. Crying. How to satisfy a woman every time and have to beg for more. Oh, my God. Oh, come on down and do it to me one more time. Shut up. Yeah. What's the matter? That's great. Well, you interrupt my sports for that. Well, no, but I mean, it's like a child. Cormac McCarthy, All the Pretty Horses. Yeah. One of the great books of the 20th century, right? Okay. Yeah. You know, it's outrageous that trash and dribble, like the bridges of Madison County and other, that garbage that Stephen King writes, is on the bestseller list ahead of Cormac McCarthy, All the Pretty Horses. I'm demanding that you people get out there and buy this book. God, how hard is this? How hard is this? Good. But you'll buy Nora Hayden's, that piece of junk, How to Satisfy a Woman. Oh, God. Come on here.
Ewing had 10 of his 40 points in the overtime, and he was asked why was he so successful last night.
Oh, just giving me the ball.
Knicks have now won 5 in a row.
That would be a crucial element. Brilliant scoring points and brilliant strategy to get the ball, and then shoot it. Hopefully we'll go in the situation deal.
76ers have lost 4 in a row, but it didn't seem to bother Philadelphia guard Hersey Hawkins.
When you lose them, you really don't mind, because as long as everyone comes out, gives a good effort, be aggressive, and play as hard as they possibly can, that's all you can ask for it.
No.
No one loses.
You don't have to lose at all.
There's the attitude.
Know where they call him Hershey? No, man.
Why, Bernie?
Listen to him.
College basketball milestone for Holy Cross coach George Blaney won his 400th career game last night as Holy Cross beat visiting Rutgers 99-87 in Worcester.
What's the matter with you?
New Giant coach Dan Reeves yesterday completed the hiring of his coaching staff, and good news, he retains 2 assistants from the Ray Handley staff.
Well, why is that good news?
Well, because they were so successful in the past 2 years.
Well, weren't they?
Sarcastically.
Were they 2 assistants who were with Parcells?
I don't know. Why do you ask me these questions?
Well, that would make a difference, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I guess it would. Parade in downtown Dallas today, by the way, for the Cowboys to celebrate their Super Bowl victory.
Were we going to have Dan Rather? Were we going to have Dan Reeves on this program?
We wanted to.
I got a letter from Dan Rather the other day.
Yeah. Rather or Reeves?
Huh?
A little cryptic or something?
No, but he sent me one of his radio. Washington senior political analyst Richard M. Nixon. And good morning to you, John D. Imus in the morning. Just checking through the papers here, Imus, for a moment. What is she upstate crime? Oh, absolutely. Now, let's see. What are you reading about there? Something domestic, foreign? Or? This is domestic, definitely. What is it? Well, this particular item says, let's see. Smoldering, green-eyed, long-legged beauty, looking for spontaneous combustion and long-lasting monogamous relationship with... that lets that out. Monogamous. I'm not looking for pressure, for crying out loud. No. Well, I'll pursue this later. Anyway, I've had a number of issues that jump off the front page at us this morning, eh? Issue 1, Nannygate. We're just 4 weeks into this thing, and believe me, the inmates are running the asylum. The Clinton administration. Politics answer to a slasher movie. You know something, Dono? You know who I think is really in control of the White House? No. Haley Barbour. This hick from Yazoo City, Mississippi, who's the new chairman of the Republican Party. Because the GOP couldn't be getting a better start toward winning back the White House 4 years from now if they'd been scripting. This isn't America's first family. It's America's first dysfunctional family. It's like watching a continuing slow-motion train wreck. I mean, the world's about to blow up, and our Little Rock pantload has managed to focus our attention on whether some experientially unqualified attorney general prospect ever shook her booty at a TNA dive somewhere. And, of course, whether we've all paid into the beaner mowing the lawns dental plan. Jesus, get these people the hell out of town, will you? And issue 2, related, certainly, Ron Brown. Now, I've been around this politics game all my life, as you know. It can be a dirty, ugly business. Let me then just say this. Ron Brown has set a whole new standard for the category of politician we define BSP. What is that? Blood-sucking servile parasite. Clinton jettisons Kimba Wood like she was a plague carrier. Brown confesses that he didn't pay taxes on some do-rag-wearing Bolivian. And Kimba's canned and Ron remains? Well, pardon me, Benedict Arnold, but I don't think so. You know, JD, if Clinton's wondering how he's going to cut those 300 jobs at the White House and thereby keep like one campaign promise, I know the job he can cut first. His. Just one man's opinion, of course, but one that carries considerable weight, being that of Richard Nixon, himself once a president of the United States. And to think they actually wanted to impeach me? Ye gods, what up with that?
Imus in the morning.
6:39. You people are being told that my army is about to adopt a policy change that will allow homosexuals to join this service. As you know, it's a controversial step. I don't know how all of you feel about it, but let me tell you how it's going to be. I once slapped a soldier. I didn't kiss him. Now it appears I should have gone down on him. For we're being asked to alter certain basic physiological instincts that make a man, a woman, and now a flute tutor, a soldier. First of all, I am a soldier. I live by discipline. Therefore, I shall comply with the directives of my superiors in this matter, whether they be my fellow officers at the Pentagon or a commander-in-chief who is a pimple on the petrified prong of progress, having evaded his own responsibility to serve, and who has now relinquished his command to a hateful woman who thinks she's King Kong, and one who I suspect might just like a place in this man's army herself. And so, we welcome homosexuals. They shall not be denied an opportunity to serve. Indeed, it is my view that homosexuals possess unique qualities that can find broad application in our overall defense structure. To name just a few, live fire exercises need targets. It requires special individuals to take Geiger counter readings when we test our nuclear devices. Minefields must be secured. New uniform materials' flammability potential must be determined. Aircraft ejection seat design needs constant updating. And, of course, there is the continuing need for personnel who can help us assure that America's biological weapons program remains second to none. So, call them what you will. Homosexuals, gays, flits, foreskin fusiliers, rigid midgets with rigid digits, whatever. They're here, they're queer, and they've got guns. The advice from this old soldier, then? The first time Corporal Drive Shaft asks you to show him where the bathroom is, and he will, tell him it's located at the hand grenade range, about 25 yards in. That is all. Dismissed.
Imus in the morning.
6:53, 7 minutes till 7 o'clock. I'm this morning the late George S. Patton here on the the morning program. Policy statement.
Did you see that play that John Starks made?
Timeout.
He saves a ball out of bounds. He's in the air with the ball in his hands, and the game's on the line. He has the presence of mind to call timeout. I mean, I was
I have never seen that play before.
Unbelievable.
You're always drunk at the games. That's why.
You don't see anything.
Imus in the morning on the fan. Voice Radio 66. WFAN.
If you could meet with Michael Jackson, what would you do?
Not important. Good morning, all right.
Morning, Imus. Another slow night in sports. No real major events occurring.
So I'll continue my series of stories this morning to tell you a little bit about myself and my allotted time here on the air.
Well, you don't really have any allotted time. If you don't have any sports, we just assume you get out.
I thought I got 2 minutes every half hour.
Well, it's not 2 minutes. No. It's not set in any kind of no set time. Yeah, but go ahead.
Earlier we spoke of my roots and then my adolescent years.
Right.
Now my college life. After being rejected by 67 different universities, I was accepted at Fordham, where the classes were stimulating and the women were loose. And I grabbed it all. But I was burning the candle at both ends, and I could see I was heading for trouble. After a particularly wild evening with 3 co-eds, I realized I was wasting my life away. So I turned away from the drugs and from the orgies and went to work for the college radio station.
All right.
Coming up at 7:45, I'll tell you one how...
Let me just say something now. You probably...
What?
I'm sure that you thought at 5 o'clock this morning that it's like this is almost like the letter from the dead turkey that the rabbi. I mean, I'm sure you thought this was a good idea.
Thanks for reminding us.
Let me just say this now. It's not. Do you want to play the song too?
We thought it might be a nice thing because if your radio song's funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning on the Fan.
I'll tell you what.
Once you do the prayer, okay, and then you cue me, and then I'll cue Lou. This sounds like it might work.
Yeah.
And a pretty woman leaning in her darkened door. Wait a minute! Hold it! You're a devil. You are the latest incarnation of Satan.
Well,
You are everything that is evil.
That's it. Do you want to play the song too?
We thought it might be a nice thing because if your radio song's funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning on the Fan.
I'll tell you what.
Once you do the prayer, okay, and then you cue me, and then I'll cue Lou. This sounds like it might work.
Yeah.
And a pretty woman leaning in her darkened door. Wait a minute! Hold it! You're a devil. You are the latest incarnation of Satan. You are everything that is evil.
It's 16 minutes after 7 o'clock in New York. Well, there are 2 types of Castro convertible customers. One has a certain amount of money to spend but doesn't want to go out and buy a cheap sofa bed that they know they'll have to replace in a couple of years. Well, Jordan went on to score 40, leaving Reggie Miller to say,
You're in a no-win situation. And there's nothing we can do. I mean, because, whoever the next 2 referees are, they're going to protect them too.
After the game, Jordan was asked if he felt he should have been ejected as well.
How could you ask me that question?
We'll take that as a yes from Mr. Jordan. Locally, New Jersey Nets ripped the Pistons 109-86. Kenny Anderson with 28 points. Nets have now won 3 straight.
I have a feeling we'll be hearing excerpts from Michael Jackson for about 3 years now.
Hockey scores at 10 right here on the Fan. College basketball, number 2 Kentucky loses at Arkansas 101-94. Fordham was able to beat the United States Army. Nick McCarchick's Rams powering past one of the branches of the armed forces 42-40. Manhattan Downs visiting Fairfield 82-71. Baseball signings, Kansas City Royals have signed Greg Jeffries to a 1-year contract. And the Detroit Tigers, looking for experience, have signed Kurt Gibson to a 1-year deal as well. 7:21, Mike Breen, WFAN Sports.
Here on the Fan in New York. Knickerbocker basketball coming up at 1. I'm taking you till that point. 10 till 10 here on the Fan in New York. Jody McDonald, Susan Waldman.
Dating shops through February 28th. I'm Lori McNichol for the Fan Highway Patrol. Hi, this is...
11:30
here on Sports Radio 66 WFAN.
Highway Patrol.
Sports Radio 66, the fan.
Four in the books, an hour left to play here on the Fan. Jody McDonald right up until game time. Knicks and Magic here on the Fan.
Sports Radio 66, the fan. WFAN New York.
66 WFAN in New York.
Now through Monday. Sports Radio 66, the fan. WFAN.
7:19 here on the Fan. Steve Levy with you. Good comeback by the Nets. I mean, I don't know if they're going to win the game or not, but last time I looked up, they were down by 10, and now they're tied with 19 seconds left in their game against the Miami.
Feel something real. A message from the Ad Council. From Alex Haley.
Sports Radio 66, the fan. WFAN New York.
8:20 here on the Fan. Steve Levy with you up until 9 o'clock. Bob Costas and Costas Coast to Coast comes your way, and Bob's special guest tonight. Should be a great show. It's already on tape in the can, but Larry Bird.
Sports Radio 66, the fan. WFAN New York.
Welcome back and a happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Hope your day is working out for you. Steve Levy with you for the next 25.
For the fans in Washington, this prop is for playing Malcolm X. But you give Al Pacino an award for acting like he's Stevie Wonder? That's fine. I'm just telling you right now. I don't get Best Director at the Oscars this year. There's going to be some riots, make the Rodney King look like a tea party. That's another thing. It saddens and angers me that in order to achieve justice in the Rodney King case, the white officers are being tried for civil rights violations. What up with that? What? Let me get this straight. You have 6 white cops beat the crap out of black man, and they acquitted of criminal charges. But to keep L.A. from burning down, you're going to get them on a civil rights violation? Well, that's like reducing the sodomy charge to a traffic ticket, following too closely. Why not just accuse them of public nuisance? Sorry, gentlemen, but your piñata party got a little out of hand. Just another example of the double standard that exists when it comes to the prosecution and sentencing of biased crimes, like the Marge Shot situation. I don't understand how Major League Baseball can allow a cigar-smoking, whiskey-drinking, banana-pudding-eating, Nazi-loving, bulldog-looking, nicotine-stained, bad breath, four-eyed, nose-vein like a road map bitch be in the organization in the first place. What up with her? Well, the only difference between her attitude and a plantation owner is her slaves don't sing when they in the field. But what does her punishment entail? A 1-year suspension, which basically boils down to the fact that her seats for the game won't be as good as they normally are. And she's got to attend cultural training programs. What's that mean? She have to eat neck bones and then go listen to Lady Smith Black Mambazo records once a week? She got to watch Def Comedy Jam and then learn how to dance? Well, and they're going to make her pay a $25,000 fine, which is a drop in the bucket for a woman who's used to buying $1 million niggas like they packs of cigarettes. Well, I don't think her punishment fit the crime. She need to know the humiliation and pain of being on the receiving end of prejudice and discrimination. She need to make Black History this month by standing in front of Hank Aaron's house. Hey, Hank, who the old fat white bitch in the jockey uniform on your front lawn?
Imus in the morning.
Most President's Day celebrations salute.
How you doing, Dave? Hi, Dave. How are you?
Good.
Dave.
I'd like to...
Do you even have a clue? Hello?
Hello?
Do you have a clue?
Yes.
Okay. What do you want?
Well, I knew immediately why Clive is down in St. Croix.
What do you do for a living?
I'm an importer.
What do you import?
Things with boners.
Oh, like those little goofy dolls that the Dan Quayle bought and that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Novelty items?
Yeah.
And you sell them at, like the little Korean shops over on 6th Avenue in the 30s there?
No, down in Soho and West Village.
Oh, okay. Same place. All right, go ahead here.
Well, I used to live down in St. Croix, and they have a very different version of the holidays.
Move back.
Well, they have 12 days of
I want you to pack your things. Now, move back. Go back in there now. Leave. Leave now. Never call us again. So Clyde is down there for what now?
It's Three Kings Day is the 12th day of Christmas, and it's the biggest day of partying. And what they do is they stay up all night drinking rum, and they get in a big train with all the 400-pound women and the steel band, and they go all night.
You're talking about the black people.
Yes.
They. Those people. Ones, wearing the comfortable shoes.
The cruising.
Yeah.
The help.
The help.
But, I can see why he wouldn't want to miss that.
Is he from the islands?
Not that I know.
No, he's not.
I know he had a house down there.
Where is he from? What? Atlanta. From Atlanta. Washington.
I'm David Brinkley.
Hi, Dave.
This is Walter Cronkite.
And I'm the radio divinity Don Imus, a human repository of juice, suffused with the elixir of the elite. You know me as the I-Man.
First, some news since the morning papers, showing his determination to nominate a female to the post of Attorney General. President Clinton's new short list of prospects contains some familiar names. Spokesman George...
Strictly bear with an eating disorder. Talk to a Madame Tussauds wax figure at Diana Ross.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning on the Fan.
Nice of him to spring Liz Taylor on him, huh? I tell you now, I got a pretty good idea what J. Edgar Hoover looked like in drag.
In the morning on the Fan, Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Left ball to the right ball. A little further to the right ball. A little further to the right. How conservative can you go? Clinton's main artillery is that shrew Miss Hillary. We here at the EIB fear her feminazi tyranny. Though she loves to politic, she'd be better at turning trick. Don't intend to offend or shock. I'm just doing the Limbaugh rock. And now, another homosexual update. According to Outweek, you should excuse the expression homosexual rag. Gay weddings have surpassed bar mitzvahs on the list of most catered affairs. My question is, at a homosexual wedding, who throws the bouquet? White's my face and red's my neck. Quite far from politically correct. Lifetime member of the NRA. Same goes for the KKK. All the homeboys in my hood all wear hoods like homies should. Put a Negro in a hammerlock. Come on, do the Limbaugh rock. Come on over to the right now. You don't have to be that bright now. How conservative can you go? Rush Limbaugh saying Sieg Heil. And remember, folks, if an Afro-American, liberal, lesbian, feminazi Jew should move into your neighborhood, do the right thing, kill yourself. More after this.
Imus in the morning.
When Pat stands there at the Garden, threw a puck on the ice at the precise moment that Messier was shooting for the net, and the puck went in.
Is that right?
I'm saying if you got a drunk in the stands who can get the puck in the net, and guys on your team can't, you got a problem with your team, don't you think?
We got to check out that goaltender also.
Well, they thought it was a goal. Well, he stopped one puck. He just...
But he's got to stop.
Yeah, how many does he have to stop?
And Dallas plays at San Francisco, as you know, Sunday in the NFC Championship game. The last time the Cowboys and the 49ers played in an NFL playoff game.
Highway Patrol and filling in for... Kind of interesting, Steve, filling in for your wife, Eileen Marchese. It's Andy Quinn.
Hey, I'm the only guy filling in my wife.
He's filling in for you.
I'm trying to say, I bet.
No, I'm just trying to say that he's taking her place.
Take your butt, I bet. I'm afraid of you.
Where is Eileen today, by the way?
Split in the house. That time in the bus.
All right, here's Andy Quinn. Good morning, Andy.
Good morning, Imus. It's been a blast filling in for Eileen, but I can assure you it's even better now that it's over. This traffic report is
This concludes the entertainment portion of the WFAN broadcast day. WFAN now presents the rest of its programming schedule. 19 and 1/2 hours of imbecilic prattle between contemptibly limited provincial program hosts, talking on the telephone to a band of 13 equally insignificant housebound agrophobes with sports obsessions. The entertainment portion of the WFAN broadcast day will resume at 5:30 tomorrow morning.
Good morning, 30 degrees, sunny skies at 10 o'clock. This is John Minko with the latest 66 WFAN Sports News, and it's about to begin in Indianapolis. Mike Tyson's lawyer plans to tell Indiana appeals judges today his client should get a new trial because a judge blocked testimony from witnesses challenging the truthfulness. And a good morning to you on a Monday, President's Day here in New York. How you doing, folks? I'm Ed Coleman. Dave has the day off today on a short show because we have the Rangers coming up against the St. Louis Blues over at Madison.